see, there's a system behind this stuff, how they transliterate. That's why we have these bunch of consonants sometimes in a row. Now, of course, you can Google the Greek alphabet quite easily, and transliteration, just have to know that it exists. And then you can figure out how this name you see, where it comes from, or why it's spelled the way it is. Oh, last note on U at the bottom, utopia. U means not. Utopia means no place. Utopia is the one nice good place. As in Europe, Eulalia, Eucharistos. Or Eugene. Eugene means good guy. Eugenios. Okay, back to the real stuff. Okay, this is where we left off last time. We did some prefixes and suffixes. We mentioned combining vowels right at the beginning, and we spent some time on stem forms. We'll spend more time on stem forms now, the meaning forms. So, just to give you some review, densiflorus, dense flowers. Dense for dense, flora for flower. This is the asparagus densiflorus, top picture. Xanthoploia, yellow bark, yes.
There by the densiflorus, the US, is that like nominative or what?
Yes, the us at densiflorus is the case ending. It's nominative, masculine, singular. Okay, because it's flower, it's masculine.
Okay.
And yeah, okay. I'm showing you only the generic name, the specific name now, not the generic name. You can fit densiflorus to any kind of genus. You just change the us to a if it's feminine or if it's neuter. It's just descriptive. Okay, combining vowels. In densiflorus we have the I. In Xanthoploia, yellow bark, we have the O as a combining vowel to make your two terms stick to each other. Sometimes you use them, sometimes you don't. It's to facilitate pronunciation. You can say speed meter, but it's easy to say speedometer. You can say kiloliter, but kiloliter is better. It sounds better. That's a combining vowel, just a bit of mortar between stuff. Prefixes, we did by with retro. By for two, retro backwards, obviously. And suffixes, we went through suffixes, and we've seen the superlative, isimus, and the skens. It's called it makes a verb inchoative or inceptive. If you want a verb and you want to say it becomes that, as in you have the Latin word skew, I know. You make it, yeah, that's already inchoative. And from the skew you get skiens, knowing, which became silence later. So, more on the parts. We also did how they fit. Okay, important example. Carissa bispinosa. This is the carissa with a double thorn. Now all carissas have double thorns. But this one was called the double thorn because the other one has large fruit. And it was called macrocarpa, meaning large fruit. We've also seen a carissa ovata, or we will see one. The one with the ovate leaf. This is how these things get named. You look at what is the obvious aspect of attribute of the species, and you name it according to that. Grandiflora. We had densiflorus, Grandiflora, abelia is feminine, grandiflora feminine. Grand, combining vowel, and flower. Simple enough. Is the whole system starting to make sense? All you need is all the meanings of all these bricks. Okay, there are thousands and thousands of them. But you get round to knowing them. No, 1,000 words is not a lot. Rotundifolia, we look at leaf shapes now. If you do botanical Latin or botany, your vocab will be specific to plants. If you specialize in trees, you'll have a specific vocabulary for tree. Leaf shapes, leaf stems, leaf bases, stuff like that. If you're working only on grasses, you'll have a slightly different vocabulary. Soon you'll have a big enough vocabulary to understand all the stuff you are working. If you want to become a professor in botany, okay, you have to go a little wider. But yeah, if you're a professor, studying 10,000 words is not that difficult. Rotundifolia, round leaf, rotund leaf. And Combretum erythrophyllum. This one you know well. It's all over campus. The red leaf, erythros, that's an erythrocyte. Phylum, Greek. Usually they try to keep Greek with Greek and Latin with Latin. So you have densiflorus, two Latin terms, but you don't want rosa phylum, you want rosa folia. Latin and Latin, Greek and Greek. And a shape, gladiolus longicollis, long neck. You know a collar? Collarbone, collar, collis, neck. Longicollis, a long one. Back to the vocabulary of generic names. I'll show you some clues. In the end, I also want to give you some idea of how to memorize this stuff. And just pumping it into your brain is not going to work so well. You want some kind of way that will work for you to help memorize stuff. And I want to give you more work to study for next week. So, ancient names, Quercus combretum, we're done for this. Some plants were named after gods and men, like Protea. Or gods, Phoenix canariensis. Phoenix, kind of palm, one of the genuses for palms. Canariensis of the Canary Islands. Washingtonia, named not after the region, but after that one bloke called George Washington. Kniphofia, named after Johannes Hieronymus Kniphof. Hirsuta, hairy, as in hirsute. If you have a large English vocabulary, you can figure out the Latin terms quite easily. If you know the English word hirsute, if you're hairy, it's like hair on your back, hairy, hirsute. Hirsuta. And of course, the generic names can be Latinized forms of modern names, as in jacaranda. That's a South American indigenous name for a tree, so they just made it the generic name in botanical Latin. Liquidambar, liquid amber, common name, Latinized it, made it one word, Bob's your uncle. Podocarpus, pod-shaped fruit, made up name for yellow word. So the Proteas, if you know a little bit about why they were called the Proteas, it becomes easier. It's named after a god, Proteus, a shape-changing god. When Thunberg came to South Africa, what was that in the 18th century, he started writing up all the Protea species he could find. He wrote about 80% of them. What struck him is the incredible variety in this one genus. They're all the same, but you have this huge variety. So he named them after this specific mythological creature, Proteus, the river god, who could change his shape. And he made it feminine, Protea, because they look like trees. Iris, we've mentioned Iris before, named after the goddess of the rainbow, the messenger of Hera. There is a Greek depiction of her with the wings. There's the iris flower, and she also gave a name to that sphincter muscle in the eye, because it's made up of different colors. The iris flower, you get them in all colors. Specific names are by far the most numerous, and those are the names you would really want to memorize. So we've done the Compsognathus grandiflora, the Tamarix ramosissima, I gave you one, and there's a Wachelia xanthufloia in the yellow bark occasion, fever tree. Mahonia aquifolium. Once you have this system, now you can make up stuff like aquifolium. Aqui, referring to an oak tree, folium, leaf. So this is the one whose leaves look like that of an oak tree. You don't see it?
I thought it was water leaves.
No, that's aqua. Aqui, terebinthifolium, we had that one. It looks like a turpentine tree. So now we have a system that starts describing itself. It looks like that thing, it looks like this kind of species, it looks like this kind of genus. It's removed from classical Latin now. Using other vocabulary from botanical Latin to describe itself. For you, just more vocab. But okay, the fewer the words you use, the better. You don't want a too large a system. Okay. Another nice way to study these, is to look at typical descriptors of parts of a plant. Because often, plants are named according to these descriptions. So one example, the shape of leaves. You have a Utricularia reniformis. You know that plant? You've heard of it? I gave you a picture of the leaves. If I show you a picture of the flower, you'll recognize it. It's a beaker plant. Those carnivorous plants with the beakers? Yeah. But it's named after its leaf's shape, reniformis. So what shape is reniformis? No, it's not a bean. What do you have when you have renal failure? Kidney. That's why you go to a rhinologist or a nephrologist. Nephros is the Greek for a kidney. It's kidney shaped, reniformis. Formis meaning fork. Reniformis. Spatulatus, you know what a spatula looks like? No, spatulatus. Linearis, easy enough. Oblongus, easy enough. Ovatus, there is the Carissa ovata, named after the leaf shape. And then, if you have ovatus one way and it's the other way around, it's ovatus. It's ovatus just the other way around. It's very simple. Lanceolatus, it's shaped like a little lance. Now, we didn't do diminutives. In Latin, and in Greek to a lesser extent, but in Latin they often use the diminutive. You don't find that in English, you find it in only piglet, leaflet. That little lip in the bit, that's English diminutive. In Afrikaans, you find it all the time. You have a klaskamertjie. All the time, for all kinds of different reasons, not only to describe stuff that's so small. Okay, in Latin, that ol or ul is a diminutive, as in calculus, little stone. Calx, stone. Calculus, little stone. Pediculus, small foot, or a louse. Pediculus. That's why you get pediculosus morbis, picordosus capitis, lice infestation of the head. I used to teach medicine at some stage. Ellipticus, okay. These are quite useful. Don't forget to study these for your test. If you have the English names, you can get the Latin. Or, if you studied Latin well, the English names are not that difficult. Linear for linearis. Ensiformis for ensiform. Ensiform, shaped like a Greek sword, ensis. Gladiformis, shaped like a Roman sword. We're not into war games. It's useful for botany. Okay. Falcate, falcatus, like a sickle. Falx. Laureatus, leather strip, rim. Agrafe ellipticus, oblongus, lanceolatus again, oblonceolatus, other way around. And these are interesting. Deltoides, deltoid.
It's a must.
Deltoid, like a,
Must.
what's deltoid mean?
It's this thing.
No, no. That thing is also deltoid, but it's not. No. It's shaped like the letter delta. I'll give you an example. Do I have one here? That's all. Android. Android. Shaped like a man. An oid is a very useful suffix, shaped like a man. Android. Deltoid, shaped like a delta. You use android, now you can see the D's. Okay, those are lowercase deltas. Uppercase delta, you've seen this in mathematics, that's uppercase delta. It's deltoid, shaped like a delta. If it's obdeltoid, it's the same, just other way around. You have a part of the colon, it's called the sigmoid colon, shaped like a sigma. Sigmoid colon. Okay, easy enough. If you can link these words to stuff you already know, and most of the stuff you already do know, then memorizing them, they stick easily. The more you have, easier it gets. Let's look at the edges of leaves. Undulating. What do you call integer in English? If it's gaafrandig in Afrikaans. If the leaf, the edge of the leaf is just smooth. Entire. Integer, that's a Latin, easy. It's without anything else. Okay, there's a gladiolus undulatus. That is a kind of undulatus that picture wants to express. Slightly tricky, serratus and crenatus. Serrated and crenated. Slightly different shape. Of course, these words and terms were invented and assigned according to what botanists needed to describe. So these kinds of leaves on the right are quite common. So you want to distinguish between them on a very detailed level. That's why they did it. Other leaf shapes are not that common, so they don't really distinguish in the nomenclature. The language serves the scientist. That's the point. Leaf stems. Cordatus, rotundatus. We had that Dombaya, rotunda. Truncatus, truncated, cut off. Sagittatus. Sagittatus, you know that word. Who's into horoscopes?
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. What's a Sagittarius? It's somebody. The eus at the end is a worker of Sagitta. Sagitta is an arrow. Yeah. So Sagittarius, that's the back of an arrowhead. There's a Hippomya, it's a kind of morning glory. Hippomya sagittata, if you look at the leaves. More interesting is the cordatus. Latin word cor means heart. Strangely, if something is heart shaped, it's not shaped in the way that organ in your chest is shaped. It's shaped in this form that used to be a fertility symbol. Yeah, just turn it upside down to see where it comes from. Okay, that's heart shaped. You okay with fertility symbol, heart shape? Not creative enough. I can put the arrow through it if you like. Okay, habitats. This is also a very nice set of vocab that's useful for botany. Because often plants are named after a place where they're found or where they like to grow. I'll give some examples. On that appendix, I have lists of these kinds of things organized according to, well, what I felt was logical groups. So, Aloe dolomitica is an aloe that likes to grow on dolomite soil. The Chironia palustris is the one that likes to grow in the swamp. This is a common way of naming. There's some typical ones. Montanus of mountains. Campestris of plains. Campus is a plain, like the place where you study, which is an open plain. Silvestris of the wood, it's in Sylvan. Agrestis is an agrarian of the land. Aquaticus, there is the water one. Aquaticus. Aqua, okay. Just because something is an A, a Q, and a U doesn't make it water yet. You need the A, that's part of the stem form, the aqua. Especially in short words, the stem form is not so easy to find. Take the word biology. The stem of biology, you have a logos, study of, but you study of life, B. Life in Greek, bios. The os being case ending, the B is the stem form. Biology. So B, stem form, O, combining vowel, log, for logic, study of, and the Y is an English suffix. Maybe substantifies it. Okay, besides habitat, also growth habit. Erecta, standing upright. Humilis, smallis. Pumilis, dwarfish. Oh, do you know the plant, the Ficus pumilus? The kind of fig. It fell out. I can't think I had to put it in any of your worksheets or. Okay. The Ficus pumilus is a tiki creeper. Yeah. Tiki creeper. The plant tiki creeper, Ficus pumilus, it's a fig, but it's not a tree at all. But it's still a fig. We know it's a fig, we looked at the DNA. We're pretty sure it's a fig. It just doesn't, it's not a tree. Pumilus, dwarfish. Sizes, these are also quite useful. Grandis, parvis, brevis. Big, small, short in Latin. Big in Greek, you find the Greek often in macro and micro. Okay. Small note. That os, that os in macros, that is a case. So macro is a stem form and a combining vowel. You usually find it with the arrow. Well, okay, sometimes you don't. Same with micros, microscope, stuff like that. Okay, I mentioned the euphorbia ingens right in the first lecture, the Nalburg. That's the euphorbia, that's huge, gigantic. Ingens. And the Contoniaster horizontalis is one of those words you don't really need to study. You know what horizontalis means. Okay. Slightly trickier, but also very useful, are these verbal expressions. So something is formed in a certain way. Something is bearing something. Something inhabits something. Something is colored. We had reniformis, formed like a kidney. These are the four most common ones. It can be formed, formis, is an adjective, formis, forme, like capensis, capense, color, coloris, and cola and fera. Now let's look at the word Liriodendron tulipifera. Fera, bearing or carrying or producing. Tulipi, tulip bearing tree. Makes sense. Wheatis winifera, the stuff you buy in dark bottles, 270 milliliters. Yes. Well, that's not the wine. That's where it comes from. The grape. Wheaties, ancient name for the grape, the vine. Winifera, bringing wine. Vini, vinum, wine, fera, bringing wine. Filifera, we had that one. Fili is like it's a hair. Fera, bearing hair. Cotton ball. This one is, you find it almost everywhere. It's the same stem form you find in the word suffer. To carry under, to suffer. So when you find in conifer, the one bearing cones. Formis is easy, color is easy. Cola, inhabitant of. In Latin we have the word agricola. It's a farmer. It's a guy inhabiting the land. Agricola. Incola is Latin for somebody living in a place. We find these, I can give you an example. When they name symbiotes or some of these plants that only live inside or on other plants, they inhabit a specific little biological niche. Then they're often named after the place of habitation. Okay, one of my favorite examples, Glottifilum linguiforme. Glottus, glotta, tongue, glottafilum, tongue leaf, linguiforme, lingua, Latin for tongue, forme, formed. Yeah, there's a tongue leaf, tongue formed. Because it's funny. Okay, colours. For botanical names, colours are very important, well, except for grasses. Next year, apparently, this whole course will move to the first semester, and grasses will be the main feature. So, colours will go out. We'll do all kinds of inflorescences. Now, colours are notoriously difficult, especially if you want to find out what the ancient people believed the colours, their colour words referred to. For instance, you have this character in the Odyssey, Odysseus. He had hyacinthine hair. People guess blonde. It might not even refer to the colour of his hair, but more to the coals in his hair. We also have in Odyssey the wine dark sea. Well, maybe. Well, it's difficult. It's difficult because, yeah, they tell you, oh, this is this colour, this is that colour, but you can't really ever be sure. Botanical Latin, they decided, okay, we'll have our own system. We'll have colour codes, and these colour codes will have botanical names. And that will be that. Okay, not everybody's in with the system, but it works much better than living language. This example, the roseus. For colours, you often find this eus or osus at the end. Eus meaning the same colour as rose. There's roseus, and this one is called Catharanthus roseus, the one with the little bit of pink. There's some blues. Nymphia caerulea. Notice, caerulea, it's almost as dark sky blue. But yeah, okay, this is the blue in botanical Latin, that's caeruleus. Very easy. And this one is purpurea. Purpurea in ancient Latin is red. We know that because we know how they dyed their stuff to become purpurea. They dyed it with something that made it red. Okay, these days purple is purple. Purpurea. And of course, botanical Latin needs many more coloured terms than you would find in everyday speech. So they invented words like lilacinus, lilac. words like violaceus, violet. Atroviolaceus, dark violet. This is dark purple, it's not purpurea, dark violet. So, make up a name. You don't have to use yellow, you can also use golden, aureus. The gladioli family is excellent for colours. All of them were named after colours. Except for longicornis. Griseus, grey. So a few dozen colour terms, and you can work on flowers. Okay, there's another aureus, just aurea, because it's a protea aurea. And maculatus is something slightly different. Any guesses? What does maculatus mean? You think of maculate. Or think of immaculate. Immaculate, spotless. Immaculate, spotted. Maculatus, spotted. It's not quite a colour term, it's close enough. You can learn it with the colour terms. Makes sense. Some colour terms, the common ones, you will need the Latin and the Greek for. It's on in your appendix, I have lists. So, for Latin, albus or albidus is white. In Greek, it's leuk. As in leukocyte, yeah? Who's ever heard of leucohypography? You've seen those white horses against the hillsides in England. Leucohypography is the action of cutting out one of those horses against the hill. It's a real word. You can find it in the English dictionary. If you're very good at looking up in dictionaries. Leuk, white. White or whitish. And if you look at skin colors of people, say this is a white person, that skin is not really white in the sense of white. It's just white relative to other variations. And the same happens in botany. If you say this is the white rhino, it's not really white. But relative to the other species in that genus, this is the whiter one. This is how stuff is. Okay, so for white and for black, you find this. But even for other colors, if you say this is a red one, like a red panda is not really red, it's brown. But okay, compared to other pandas, it's red. That's a relativity of color terms. Be careful. So you have white, leuk, or albus, niger or melan, mela for dark or black. Yeah, you don't get black in nature that often. It's always darker. I'll give you an example just now. Luteus or xantho for yellow. There we have Oxalis luteola. We had oxalis earlier, purpurea, isn't it? Viridis for green, viridiflorum, Pitusporum viridiflorum, or chloro, as in the element on the periodic green. Ruber, erythro, we've had that one for red. Roseus, rhodo for rose, as in Rhododactylus eos, rosy-fingered dawn. Okay, from these color terms, you can create new terms, these inchoative or insective terms. If something is turning dark, like this Coricium nigrescens, it's turning dark, you can add that escens at the end. So it goes towards this one. Albescens, it goes towards white, like dog poo in the park. You get albescens. Nigrescens becoming dark, flavescens becoming pale yellow. You see how you can even put extra texture into our color terms, which is useful because you never find on a species exactly the color you find in the handbook. Some flowers will be just openings, others will be already be all, so it will be in a range. You need an eye, you need understanding. And you need a vocab to explain or describe these things. The last and probably the most important trick. So how do you remember all these words? It sounds very easy when I just speak about them here. But it's not so easy when you're sitting alone at home and you have 100 species to memorize. How do you do it? If this course can save you time on that, then you can spend that time more usefully on real work. The nomenclature and botanical names should be the easy part. Best advice I can give you is try to use your own specific talent. You would have a very specific talent, or your talent is slightly different from other people's. Use your strengths. Try, when you see these forms, to understand them in terms of stuff you already know. So, we have this stem form ake, the uppermost or the furthest. Do you know what's an acropolis? Yes, somebody knows. Acropolis. That is the highest city. Polish city, Acropolis, the highest city. That is your executive capital. It's the one on the hill in the Middle Ages. The one with the big walls, the keep. Acropolis. You link it to something you already know. Under for man. I have Android there. Or maybe your name is Andre. Andre means manly. Yeah, Andrea, she who is manly. Andros, man. Arch, for the head. Oh, this is where you have to be very careful. You have two stem forms, arch and arche. The arche one, that is part of the stem form. Two different words, one letter difference. Arch is a chief, as an arch enemy. You know arch enemy? Yes, your chief enemy, arch villain. Or an arch above a door, the top one, the chief one. But arche is the original, as an archetype. You know what's an archetype? Archetypos. This is where American spelling becomes difficult, because American spelling would make that E of arche and I as an architect. Tector is a builder, actually a guy putting roofs on. Architector, the original one. The guy that drew the picture first. Okay, I gave you 4 examples here. Only A's, I took the first 4 from the list. You have to make up your own as you go along. If you're into natural sciences, try to keep your memorization tricks within your field, because what you do in Botanical Latin will help you with naming stuff in a laboratory, and will help you understanding arguments about carbon cycles, because scientific vocabulary is more or less the same across fields, the system at least. So, what you do here will help for the others too. The more links you can make, the better. Before the next slide, any questions? Okay. What you need is an idea of how the system works. What you should get before next week's test is a decent vocabulary based on the words in the slides and the worksheets. And then what I will ask you is stuff. Oh, there's one more. Sorry, before I get to the last one. Some other easy ones. Orth for correct, ne for new, mega, big, medi. These are easy ones, selected because they're easy to memorize, easy to know. There we go, that's what we'll ask you next week. It will be a 25 to 30 minute test, fill-in test. One of those tests where you can't figure the stuff out really. You either see it in 2 seconds or you won't. you'll be surprised how many of these words will just come back. You think, no, I don't know this, and suddenly your brain tells you, no, no, you do know this. Trust your brain. So, I can give you a bunch of names. Combretum microphyllum, combretum erythrophyllum, combretum zeheri. And then ask you the grammatical gender of combretum. We've done that. That's a difficult question. So, microphyllum, erythrophyllum, neuter. I'll give you some clues. You'll drop down list of select the correct one kind of thing. More daunting, but maybe easier, is to break up a name into its constituent parts. Macrocarpa, break it up into its constituent parts. So, you write down mac or carp a. I will give you the lines as a clue as what should be, more or less, what should be there. Organize it. I understand this is like 3 weeks. You're not going to be classicists yet. But if you have a vague idea of how this thing works, it's a start. This is only introduction. And of course I'll ask you what stuff mean. What does microphyllum mean? Okay. This is the stuff you can actually master now, of which you should try and master as many as possible. And that will be your test. Oh, right at the end of the test there's a little questionnaire as well. It's not a big one, it's like 5 questions. Please think about it and fill it in. I want to completely change the course next year. So, if you don't want people, if you want people next year to suffer, fill out that one.